Hey guys, welcome to the Michael Singleton Show. I want to talk about this case of Kilmar Garcia. The Trump administration has released more documentation on him this past Wednesday. That's the gentleman who was accidentally sent to El Salvador. The media has tried to frame this as this guy is innocent. That is just not true. I was just talking about this on CNN recently. We had a great debate about it. I laid out some facts that I want you guys to watch, and then we'll talk about those facts on the other side. Let's take a look. I think it is a political issue. I also think it's a national security issue. Prince George's County in 2019, their gang unit determined that Garcia was an MS-13 gang member. His wife in 2021, the wife that's now giving lengthy testimonies about how great he is, said that he's a serial abuser, and she has a ton of photos to showcase said abuse. I agree, due process is absolutely important. We want to maintain that, but I think there's absolutely enough here to send this guy somewhere else. One, he's already broken the law. We've already established that. Now you do have evidence suggesting that he was a member or is a member of MS-13. He's also a serial abuser. This is not the type of individual I don't think any one of us would want in our country. He should be deported. So those are the facts. So let's talk about what I just laid out in that CNN clip. Let's just leave the clip up for a minute. I talked about the wife, and this is important. His wife, who he's currently married to, you've seen her give interviews on mainstream media. She's given press conferences, press avails, talking about how great he is. He was a great father. He's a great husband. He's done all these lofty things. In 2021, it's revealed that she filed a police report against him, or a police report was filed exclaiming the length of abuse from Kilmar Garcia against his wife. And she had documented photos of this abuse, how he aggressively beat her, constantly beat her, was aggressive. She feared of her life. She feared that his anger could sometimes not be stopped. This is in a police report. Now the wife is going before the news media saying that he's a great guy. He's this wonderful husband. He's husband of the year. Yet just 4 years ago, 2021, now 2025, she was talking about how she was afraid of this guy. One has to beg the question, who's putting the wife up to this? Who's giving her money? Who's trying to use her as a prop to now change the narrative about this person that she's married? Now, that's not to say that Kilmar Garcia hasn't changed. I suppose it's possible for someone to have abused their wife and now he's reformed. But in none of her speeches so far, or even interviews, no one in the press even asks her about this. Maybe they don't know because they didn't do their due diligence, but the information's out there now, so we'll see if someone asks. And nowhere in her press conferences did she say, or has she ever stated, Kilmar and I have had some difficult issues in the past. Marriage isn't easy. Relationships aren't easy. You guys know this, fellas. But I don't put my hands on my wife, and I hope most of you aren't either. That's not what real men do. But nevertheless, she hasn't said, hey, we've had some rough patches. You know, Kilmar isn't perfect. Kilmar hasn't always done everything right, but he's my husband. And he's a good husband now, and he's a good father now, and I just want my husband returned, or I want to figure this out. She hasn't said any of that. She's simply saying the politics of this, I want President Trump, the president of El Salvador, to just let him come back and let him go, and this was a big misunderstanding. He's this really great father, and he's a really great husband, but nothing about his past. So again, as someone who spent a lot of my time in politics, guys, it makes me wonder, what is she hiding? Who's putting her up to this? Why is she now portraying this guy, Kilmar Garcia, as someone else other than the person she reported he was 4 years ago to the police, being a serial abuser, aggressive, so much so that she feared for her life? That's according to the police report. And then we also discovered that in 2019, Prince George's County. Now, if you don't know where Prince George's County is, it's a county in Maryland. It's, I think, one of the largest, if not the largest county in Maryland. Prince George's County MS-13 gang unit, okay, their gang unit interviewed several individuals who had some type of relationships with Kilmar Garcia, or at least close proximity to Kilmar Garcia. Let's bring the article up. And what they found, the detectives who interviewed Abrego Garcia, they said he was wearing a Chicago Bulls hat and a hoodie with rolls of money covering the eyes, ears, and mouth of the presidents on the separate denominations. According to the report by police, that clothing was indicative of the Hispanic gang culture, end quote, and that Garcia's hat represented that he was a member in good standing with MS-13. Fast forward to the immigration judge in 2019. And then wait, before we get to the judge, Prince George's County gang unit members said that MS-13 gang members are only allowed to hang around other members or prospects for the gang. That's in their report. In 2019, an immigration judge ruled that the informant's testimony, because the police spoke with some informants about Garcia, and with the judge who ruled at the time, the judge said the informant's testimony was proven reliable. So the judge trusted the information that law enforcement received from an informant about Kilmar Garcia, that he was indeed a part of MS-13. The judge said it was proven and reliable, but noting should not be deported to El Salvador because of potential harm to his life. However, he could be deported somewhere else. Just to be transparent, Garcia's attorneys deny these claims. So the question becomes, well, was he permitted to stay in the country? That's a big question. Well, the judge granted Abrego Garcia what's called a withholding removal. And it's a form of protection that forbids deportation to a specific country if the individual faces a credible threat of persecution or harm there. In Abrego's case, the judge determined that a gang in El Salvador was targeting him and had threatened his life due to his family's pupusa business. The judge said Garcia could be deported somewhere else. And that's really, really important here, ladies and gentlemen, because what it says is that the Trump administration could bring Garcia back. In fact, they should, because Democrats and the media are going to do everything they can to say, well, due process. And the judge did rule that the guy shouldn't go to El Salvador. Okay, I personally believe in respecting the judge's rulings. No problem. Call up the president of El Salvador. Look, we need to bring this guy back. Bring him back. Let him go through another round of the immigration process, which, by the way, it's a very quick process. It's not like going to a regular trial that takes weeks. This could take days. Let him go through the process. Based on what the judge said in 2019, I'm almost certain that information would remain credible, that the reasons for him to not be in this country are credible. He's already here illegally. That's a felony. That's a federal offense. Then the abuse to the wife, the alleged gang activity, according to Maryland, Prince George's County MS-13 gang unit, which the judge found reliable from an informant. That's enough in my mind, tied to him being here legally, to send him somewhere else. We can't send you to El Salvador, but we can send you to Mexico, Venezuela, Colombia, wherever you want to go, but you can't stay in the United States. You've broken the law. That would be my advice to President Trump. Send this guy back. He doesn't belong here. He broke the damn law. Don't let Democrats win the message on this, Mr. President, because they have no standing. So don't waste your time trying to fight whether he should come back or not. Bring his ass back. Bring his ass back right now. Let him go through the process, because we know what the end result will be. The end result will be the same as it was in 2019. A judge may say he can't go to El Salvador, but he cannot stay here. He's broken the law, and illegal immigrants are not entitled to stay within the United States of America. They can file asylum claims, etc., and those claims can be considered, but even those can be overruled in certain circumstances. This gentleman and anyone else who decides to come into our country, breaking our laws, have to understand there will be consequences. You got to go back. You have got to go back. The United States is not a place you can just come and hang out and do whatever you want. You break our laws, you got to go back. Simple as that. Enough with the games. We want immigrants to come. We want them to work hard. We want them to assimilate to American culture, to adapt American identity and values and heritage. But you got to do it the right way. Do it the right way. Work hard. Adapt. Become American. When you break the laws, there will be no shortcuts. We got to use this opportunity as an example so others know what the rules of the game will be going forward. You come in, you go back. Simple as that. It will be no come in, take your time, wait and figure it out. No. Those days are over. You come in, you got to go home, and you got to come back through the right way. In fact, you come in illegally and you got to wait 5 years, and then you got to try to come back because you decided to break the law. Americans are done with that. We're done with that bull crap. Enough is enough. Bring Mr. Garcia back, Mr. President. Send his butt through the process. It'll take a couple of days, no more than a week. The results will be what they were in 2019. A judge may likely say you can't bring him to El Salvador, but you can send him anywhere else. And that's exactly what we will do. And we'll make a point to our Democratic friends and to the American people that Democrats want alleged gang members. Again, a judge in 2019 believed the informant that he was a gang member, believed that information to be reliable from the gang unit in Prince George's County. Why would that information be false now? The judge believed it then. So you say to the American people, we brought him back. You wanted him to have due process. We gave it to him. The results are the same. Now we're shipping him somewhere else. And if Democrats want to fight for people breaking the laws coming into America and into our country, taking up our resources, which are not unlimited, relying on our tax dollars, which are not unlimited, let them make that argument to the American people, and we'll see how that works out during midterms. I'm sure Michael Singleton. Thanks for watching this episode on Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Drop your comments and let me know what you think. Should the guy be allowed to stay in the country? Or should we say we're not going to let Democrats play games with this? We're going to bring his butt back. Let them go through the little processes. That's what they want. And then you got to get out of here. Let me know what you think. I'm sure Michael Singleton. I'll see you on the next one. Like the video. Again, drop those comments. Share it. And I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.